Good week so far. Yes, we are back, and we are back with a bang. Yeah, that's how to say it, isn't it? I hope we had a lovely week. Today we will be speaking with the one and only Endurance Ofem. He's in the building. I know that he's about to jump in, but before he jumps in, I just should let you know that should ask you if you guys are keeping fit and well, and also that you guys are balling. Yes, so keep the wickets together. Bat straight, no cross batting. It's a difficult innings, but we will be successful, isn't it? So, former captain Nigeria, a member of the board of NCF. Played numerous games. He played for Ibadan, played for so many other teams. I'm not sure, but I think he did play for GCA. Maybe at some point we will move him to IMCC. We will see what he's got to say about that today. So let me invite Endurance Ofem. Hello, Endurance Ofem. I hope you had my last gist, right? So he's in the building. Endy, how you doing, huh?
Hey, Odepii.
It's always
I'm
like,
all right, man. I'm all right.
It's always like I see you.
It's quite a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always like I see you every day. You're always on WhatsApp posting things, inspirational messages, and all that. So one day I was coming to ask if you are also a pastor. You're a man of many talents, isn't it? Yes.
Well, basically, you need something to keep you going in life, and every single day, you have the opportunity to read something somewhere, and you want to share some things to people around the world.
Yeah, and
so that's just what it's all about.
I do appreciate that.
Thanks a lot,
I
bro.
see a lot of insights in what you're saying, a lot of nuggets. How you doing, bro?
Good to be. I'm all right. I'm great. I'm solid. You can see I'm well and hearty.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I said it's a difficult. Before you came in, I said it was a difficult period that we're in. We need to keep the bat straight. No cross batting. No fishing. Everything has to be tidy because this COVID is not child's play, isn't it?
Well, to be honest, yeah, it's a very, very difficult time because I mean, if you read about the history of anything like this, about 100 years back, so it's something that people didn't expect, and people don't know how to adjust to this, and it's here to stay for a long time, So we just have to be careful and keep safe, which is the most important thing I want to do right now. So when we do get together again, we don't forget these things, So it's going to have an impact on our lives, but is here for stay, so we just have to deal with it.
Yeah, at some point during this discussion, we're going to be talking about how it affects you, how it affects cricket in Nigeria. You will know better, isn't it? And what the things that have been put in place, especially the rules coming from ICC about how to play cricket and things we'll be watching out for in the next couple of events. The Test cricket has started, England, West Indies, and I've not really seen any difference, but maybe on the pitch and in the dressing room, things are a lot different. And maybe we'll talk about that at some point. So
certainly.
Yes. So before you came in, I'm free to say anything. This is Ibadan Metropolitan Cricket Club. And I said you played for numerous clubs. I was trying to name them, but I couldn't finish. Then I said maybe IMCC for you this coming season. You never say no, right?
Well, basically, I think it's been all the teams that I've played for, but there's always a reason why I've moved on at every point, and I knew my passions, what they are all about, and it has to rhyme with the team that I'm joining, for its purposes. And like IMCC, basically, you guys have been a group of guys, young, talented entrepreneurs, and you know, family guys who've come together. I mean, your days in University of Ibadan. I mean, follow the progress of you guys. So I think you guys are quite a bunch. Lovely guys to be around. So hopefully in future, who knows, you know.
When is future? Who's talking about future? when you're working with the walking stick, have you?
Well, to be honest, for me, cricket right now it's just a thing to pass away time and to be around the game, you know. So it's not like if you take me 5 years back, it was quite competitive. If you take me 10 years back, it was even more competitive. So I wouldn't want to be a passenger on the field of play. You know that I want to win every game. So I see it differently. So if you guys want to go up the ladder, then I would think about it, because we have to come like we want to win. You know? So I don't want to come around and just play cricket. Not now.
To be fair,
know, so if you're
to be fair, you know, it was just toasting you anyway. Because we need people who can.
I know that.
We need people who can hit 100. Yes, and I know it's going to be fun chatting with you. You know, it's always fun catching up with you, and I know it's going to be crazy today. So just let me remind you, during the program, you'll be selecting your top 11, and we'll be asking you why, you know. So we could say the first 15 minutes, we could pick up 3, tell us stories about them and all that, right? So, and yeah, just for your information, if you have not watched us before, some people have picked you in their team, and they've called you a great guy. So, right. Yes.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I've always thought, I mean,
is that Shola Anya?
Trust me, if you
okay.
Yeah, I think Shola is here.
Yes.
Shola is here. He wants me. Shola is my manager in the UK. So if he tells me this is it's a good thing to do.
Fair enough.
And then I can see my manager in Nigeria is here, Austin Arega.
Okay. We'll speak later, right? So let's go back to when it started, right? So how did it start for you? Can you remember?
Well, yeah, sure. I remember vividly well. I mean, I was in GSS3, and you know, Austin Iyanya came around to coach cricket in Ansarudin Grammar School. You know, it was a privilege. I tell you what. You know, I was there waiting for the football team, the junior team schooled us, but I didn't get into the cricket. I mean, to the football team. So, I mean, then Austin on the side saw me crying and said, "Look, young man, what's up?" So I said I wanted to play, and I didn't get it. And he said, "Oh, why don't you try this?" You know, so I was like, what is this? You know, somebody hands you a cricket bat, and on the first try, you hit the ball. You know, like, wow, you are my team. I say, is that how easy it is to be in a team? I didn't know it was a set. But today, I hold regrets about that opportunity.
Wow.
You know, I'm always thankful to him for the cricket bat. Wow. You know, my life, everything I've done, I think it's been a wonderful road all the way. So it's a good thing that I got involved with cricket.
So, I think somebody else came to talk about Ansarudin, and you know what? As you mentioned Ansarudin, now something just clicked into my brain and said, "Ask this question: did you play any secondary? Because Ansarudin was not part of the, you know, when I say the foundation,
the elite
schools, right? So, did you play any competition at that level, secondary school level?"
Yes, I remember vividly well. I think the first time Ansarudin beat King's College was in the NMPC tournament, and I was a member of that team on the field of play. So that was a big one for me. You know, we did play a lot of tournaments when I was in school. Lost a few to King's College, MBHS, but as we went ahead, I mean, I left, of course, 3 years later, and that was when I went back to coach in the school, and of course the players there, the Ositas, the Chimezies, you know, the Taiwo Bakaris. Most of those guys came through, you know, and it was that I had my fair share, but it wasn't so competitive while I was in school. I remember playing in the Philip Aswedu Trophy where I got my first 100. So, I mean, those opportunities were there for me. I think I played 2 or 3 years of secondary school cricket before I left.
Yeah, okay, wow, fantastic. So that's good to hear. So you left secondary school and you were around for a while. Then I think that will be the point where we met, isn't it? After 2 years.
Yes, certainly. You know, Yeah, like, basically, while we were, in the teens, yeah, we did a lot of trips to UI. You remember when we had those tours to UI? We used to go to, myself, Femi, John, Yemi, Musa, Shea, and Tamono, John. If you guys saw Austin Aregan, we had those one-off by ourselves. And, I remember vividly where those times we came to UI. In fact, one of the memorable ones was driving all the way from Lagos and got bowled by Oluto in first ball. I won't forget that day. I felt like, no, we got to start the game again. So that was when I knew how crazy I knew how crazy it was for you guys to go to Lagos and get LBW first.
Yes, yeah.
You don't feel good about it because you've traveled so long. You want to come and enjoy the atmosphere, and then you don't get runs on the day, which is part of the game. So those were times I learned a lot about the game as well.
So I must make a confession, right? So let's go back to those tours, right? You made an impression on me, a lasting impression, right? I was in the university, right? And I was also a swimmer, kind of a thing. At that point, I was already the captain of my swimming club. But I saw a different captain, right? You came with these boys to Ibadan, and you guys, 1 minute, you were all friends. Everybody's laughing, Next minute, it's cricket time, and you are standing in front of the team, calling out the the first 11, and trying to tell the team how you're going to play and all that. And at the other end, I was supposed to be playing as well. I'll just be looking like, oh my God, just look at that young guy doing that to his mates. So how did that feel to you? How did you get that? How did you get to that level at that young age?
I think basically it's been an inbuilt thing, I would say, but with no disrespect to all the guys I've played. The first thing is, when I was growing up as a young cricketer, I read a lot of books about captaincy. All I did for some years before I started playing in the CCC league was reading a lot. I read a lot of books, coaching books, and one of my top motivational guy that I look up to was the Australian captain, Steve Waugh. I learned a lot about him. I always look forward to see how he behaves on the field of play, his courage. And I think, if you've read the book of Woman, when it talks about captaincy, I started reading it, and what leadership meant, and, if you're leading a side, what you're expected to do, you're supposed to know much more about. So when you're talking to your players, you want to command that respect, at that age, and then the Howard Foundation, we were taught when you're a leader, you show the leadership that respect. So we had a young side then growing up together that understands, irrespective of who the captain is, on this day, you have to listen to the captain. So that credit also went to the foundation, that taught us about constituted authority. I don't have to like your face, but as long as you're the boss on the day, I have to listen to you. And that is the discipline cricket has taught some of us. And that is what I've carried through all my life. If I work with you, if you're the boss, you're the boss. They call the shots. And so on the cricket pitch, even though some of us might know more than the captain at some point, but you still respect the fact that he's the captain. So, and those tours, those days when we used to come to Ibadan, we didn't just wake up and come in. We have to plan, we have to come together, we have to save money. Everybody has to contribute to it. We have to say, okay, this is when we'll leave. The timing was always right, so it was, and that is how life is. Off the pitch, we are great friends, but on the field of play, everybody knows what to do. That is the boss, you go by him. So it's been a long road, but I put in a lot of time reading and studying captaincy, and it helped me on the way.
Okay, so this is where we are, right? Fantastic. And I was inspired at that age, and I picked one or two things up, and I was able to pass across as well. So we are at that point where we have to choose your top 11. So we do the first three first. So who will you be in your team? If you like, name all batsmen. If you like, name all bowlers. People who have inspired you within Nigerian cricket. From secondary school to national team and all that.
Honest, if I'm to look at my top 3 batters in Nigeria, I will look at those that I've played with and those that I've watched play. You know, I think number one on that list we have to be Segun Olayinka. You know, Segun Olayinka is a guy that I played with and is a great guy. He's got the courage, he's got the confidence inside him. All he needs on the field of play is, look, there has to be that guy that will motivate you to go along, you know. So I will have a Segun Olayinka. And if I'm to think of the next guy for the brand of cricket that we are playing right now, you know, I would say I'll go for P4, right? I mean, he's got, I'll bat him up front, you know. I'll never bat him anywhere down the order. Just trying to bat him at number 3, number 4. He has to be the man up front. You know,
with P4, we need to give him an award. We need, in fact, where's Tishu? We need to bring him on here because everybody has named that guy on their list.
Yeah, see, to be honest, yeah, because this is a guy I've seen, right? I think you just have to use him properly. You just have to tell him, look, you need to go ahead and do your own thing, you know. And this is a guy, he plays flourishly. You know, you can't put him under pressure. He's your Chris Gales. You know, you have to trust him. If he feels it doesn't matter, you have to give him. He performs well. It's taking the game away from the opposition. I think he's got class. You know, so that's my number 2. My number 3, right, will be quite an old cricketer. I mean, I watched him play a few years before his retirement, and I think his approach is solid. You know, and if I look at a number 3 in like somebody like Ricky Ponting, I will pick Kwesi Sego, you know, at number 3 because I've seen him, you know, on that top and hostile bowling, surviving the attack. I think I took a bit from him, you know, on how to survive the hits in trying to bat at number 3 for Nigeria. I always remember those innings I seen, but look, you know, take the ball on the body, understand the purpose of the game. So that's my top 3, I would say.
Wow, interesting. So you got into the national team at very young age. You were there for a long time. And the only person I can remember who could have been in the national team at that young age would have been Bijide. So who got in terms of age, who got in younger, yourself or Bijide?
I think Jide got in 2006. I think so. I think either 2006 and 2004, because I remember there was a trip to Sierra Leone. I was quite a young captain in Sierra Leone. I think Jide was on the side. So I got in at 19, I guess. Wow. Yes. Just after. No, I got into the national team at 19 years, just after the under-19 tournament. So I got in. But I think if you look at it presently, yeah, I think Jide got in quite earlier as well. But recently, there have been more younger players playing for the country than 19. I think we've got guys who are 18 playing for Nigeria now, and that's because of the new policy in trying to plan for the future and all those kind of things. So you will see people having such opportunities. But I think during the period when I made the national team, it was a tough task. Yeah. You know, it wasn't, nobody handed you the ticket. You know, you have to wait for your turn. You have to work hard week in, week, sure that those runs are coming on the board. And, you know, funny enough, I got in as a wicket keeper, you know, not as a batter. You know, batting wasn't the first part because we were batsmen in the squad, you know. So the first thing I knew that, look, I had the gloves. I mean, Charles Okodwa left for Canada. His name? Dolapo Gafa was first choice. I knew I was going to get in this year, you know. I knew when it was my time, but they delayed it for, I think, a year, but I still got in the same year. So that's pretty much
that's fantastic. And it's always good to see young people going to the national team. I don't know, it's just that the federal government or Nigerians generally don't follow cricket. And this is an example that the country could have followed from or should have looked at. Because in football, you would have to be 30-something before you get in. This thing is buffering. Can you still hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Hello? Wow. Am I talking to myself? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you now. Fantastic. I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. I wasn't sure because it was buffering on my end. So, yeah, when you got into the national team, right, what was the biggest pressure?
I think, to be honest, I was quite under pressure because I remember the first game was against Uganda in Zambia. I won't forget. I mean, and to be honest, it was a different feel. I must be honest, I didn't get the support I thought I needed, up in the first game. You needed to be sure, you needed everybody to patch and say, look, it's just a game. You could go in there and try to do something in your first game. But I mean, unfortunately for me, I learned the hard way. I think I had 2 poor games first up, and it was really bad, I say. And of course, when I became captain, I changed the perception and the view as regards to what you tell junior players that come into the team. Because if I didn't have that experience, I would assume that is a culture everywhere, and I didn't want what happened to me to happen to the younger players who just come into the team for the first time. You can't have a young cricketer, come into the team and you just take the entire responsibility and say, look, you have to perform on this day, but you want to take the pressure off the young guy, and that is how, it works,
Interesting. So, did you say if you were not a cricketer, you would have been a footballer?
Yes, funny enough, maybe I would have played football to a certain level, because I remember I joined the Pepsi Academy when it started. Well, I don't know. I had my bow legs. I thought maybe I don't know if they'll be good enough to take me on the way. But it was good. I love football. It was when I was young. Living in Surulere, sports was the in thing. It was football, street soccer. Going to those games. I went to watch Iwayan play. What do you call it? Shooting Stars or all those other guys. Iwayan National. It was a good feel growing up. But all those things, unfortunately, we don't have them anymore, It was a good thing. You want looking for one uncle that will carry on his head into the national, the local league life. It was usually a good feel, and so we all look forward to it. But of course, when I went into school, everything turned around when I joined cricket.
Yeah. So one more question, right? And I will go again to your top 3. So we'll have P4, Kwesi, and Shegun Inka. So we add that. So one more question. So you did talk about the national team, you coming in as a junior 19, and there are more junior people in the national team now, and you are the representative of the national team. What is the biggest challenge? I'm talking about challenges now because I know there are numerous challenges. What is the biggest challenges these kids are facing now, and how are you trying as a representative to help them solve it?
Well, to be honest, challenges are enormous, and the key thing is some of these young boys need to get their lives together. They need to understand that the game is just there and it won't be there forever. I think basically they need to understand one key thing they need to understand is the fact that there's life after cricket, and for the federation, I think they are able to get support from the federation at the moment, and I don't see anything so serious that it's on the negative. The only thing I think they deserve right now is better facilities. I see the passion burning in some of them. They want to play cricket under quality environment, under the right coaching, under the right attitude, under the right atmosphere, getting the right support on the field of play, and their pre-tournament preparations. So right now they're getting equipment, they're getting funding, they're getting allowances paid. What they need right now, I want to see these guys in a high performance center facility training, because you feel really pain knowing that you could do better, but just because you don't have those facilities, you can't help yourself, and it's something that I experienced in my time. After every tournament, I'll sit with my teammates and always say, if we just had 50% of what those guys had, could have done better, we could have been world beaters, and that is why every now and then when I have the opportunity at the board level, I keep telling them, it's not enough to pay players allowance. It's not enough to get jerseys for these players. It's not enough to get them kit bags. The right atmosphere must be created for the game to grow, and that's the most important thing. I think these players have to understand this is what it's some. Take for instance, the years myself, Kunle, P4 started going to the UK to play cricket. The moment we started playing in those conditions, we started learning, atmosphere. When we travel and we see those conditions, we more or less understand what will happen. So you are experienced now, right? Playing on concrete pitches, you're not going to get professional teams to want to come and bowl on concrete. You want to get quality sides to come to Nigeria. And that is why the tough wickets that we're trying to go into is very important. On the other hand, you want the players to be talking to the right coaches. Once they leave their state teams, they're coming to a professional setup. They must be talking to they need to be motivated in a certain way. And that is why I'm really against criticizing players if you've not given them much. The only thing I criticize my players for is the positive attitude. They must want it. Nobody's going to hand it to you for free. So you must be passionate about it. You must be hungry for that success. And of course, with the little support that is currently being given, you can, trust me, you will soar higher than where you are.
Fantastic. Hold your thoughts. I'm still going to go back to that because I need to probate that. For more than 20 years, I've been hearing concrete, tough, concrete. You hear 20 concretes, 2 toughs, but, we have to move to tough, but it's never happened. So, wait, don't answer that yet. So, next 3. Your next 3 players. Yeah.
Okay, my next 3, number 4. Okay, I'll bat Dotun Olatunji at number 4. Okay, because trust me, he's a guy that sets up the game for you. He's a delight to watch. And at number 5, I'll bat Segun Elliott.
Yeah.
Segun Elliott is Meso continue to rest on. He's a fantastic player. Sorry, not Segun Elliott, Ladi Elliott. Dotun at 4. Ladi, Segun is still alive. Ladi Elliott at 5. And of course, it is a surprise name, but I think he's a fantastic cricketer. So many people might not believe he's a better cricketer to bat at number 6, but I think I will have him at number 6 every day. He can rotate the strike. He can take the game away from you. His name is Kunle Adegbola at number 6.
It's a surprise name.
I know people will be surprised, but I've seen this guy bat, and the courage is got, and you want a player at number 6 that can take the bowlers on at the same time, can rotate strike, so he's not locked in and only hard hitting, so that's it. My number 1 is Segun, number 2 Onikoyi, number 3 Akosegbu, 4 Dotun Olatunji, number 5 Ladi Elliott, number 6 Ebola.
Yes. Fantastic. Thanks for that. So let me go back to that concrete, tough, concrete, tough. So the base, or let me say the base of the national team, or the biggest congregation. My English is failing me today, but I'll try. I think about 80% of the national team, or let's say 70%. Don't let me be too generous. 70%, to be on the safe side, is based in Lagos, right? The Lagos team has probably produced about 80–85% of the national team, right? I'm asking you this question. I wouldn't ask anyone this question. I'm asking you this question because now you are part of the board. You're sitting on the board. You are a representative, and you should know. Is it not smart, right, to break the concrete at TBS first before anything? Break the concrete at TBS in the middle, break the concrete at TBS at the net. Wouldn't that be the smartest move?
Okay, fine. I think I'll say I guide this question jealously because I've been an advocate for change. And I think any federation that is not thinking of changing the surfaces where you play cricket in Nigeria, it's not ready to go forward, and this is my fair share of it. I've said it at board meetings, I've said it at press briefings, and I'm saying it again, right? TBS Cricket Oval, being concrete, has done more to our cricketers, and the only thing is, Lagos, it's in Lagos where you have companies and more individuals sponsoring cricket. And so the Lagos League is probably the biggest in the country or in Northwest Africa at the moment. And it's growing, and you have more cricketers playing in the league. And to the point that people come from outside Lagos, from other states, as far as Kaduna, to play in the same league. So the smartest thing to do by anybody would be to take off the concrete. you know. And so basically, if I'm to follow up on this, I've always pushed, and I hope we are able to achieve it before the end of this year, or latest before the end of our tenure next year. I think we should put up a PS. And as I speak to you, it's in the pipeline. You know, I mean, it's just that modalities will have to be discussed in terms of
everything has always been on the
funding and
pipeline.
maintenance, all those. But every time that has always been a problem. But I say, right, you have to take it because you have to be careful here, you know. If you're taking it off, you have to prepare a solution for immediate cricket to continue. Because if you look at it, Lagos is suffering from lack of playing grounds, you know. I can't even, I played one game in CMS Grammar School recently. I mean, the quality of there's good outfit, but at the same time, the center needs to be properly done, you know. The same thing, I played a few games in this college sometime back, you know. So the good thing is you need to take out the concrete pitch, you know. That is the truth, and we have discussed it. I'm hoping that we'll get it through in good time. To be honest, if we can achieve this period, then I'm going to wonder who can achieve it, you know. We have to make a decision. We've made a decision, and it has to be done.
Arrogant saying everything is always on the pipeline. Yes, I said it before. Everything is always on the pipeline, and that was why I was talking about concrete, tough. You hear concrete, no concrete, that stuff. So this brings me to the next question, or not a question per se, but something you should think about, and maybe the board should think about in the next AGM as well. Because of the challenges we have with concrete, and we know that is not the way forward, and just to be honest, I have seen, and I'm sure we're going to bring him one of these days, I have seen Amusa doing some fantastic job in trying to bring up as many cricket pitches as possible in the country. Is it not ideal to say, stop building concrete wickets?
Okay, let me be very honest with you. Yeah, I like what Austin have said, you know, about things being in the pipeline. Before, we've done tough wickets in Nigeria before, right? So before you venture into a plan, there must be some form of plan. You know, as I speak presently, the ICC, the International Cricket Council Regional Office, has given us a consultant, and we meet with him every week. So he's guiding us through the process of building a tough wicket. So it's an process, and I think usually those information are supposed to be out in public so that people will know that these things have already started. But now it's a question of where it's happening, you know. Before I came on board, of course, I've never been a big fan of having those tough wickets in Abuja. First up, I've always thought that since TBS is where over 300 cricketers are playing, we should start from TBS, you know. But at every point, you try to understand why things are done in a certain way. We've tried one, and we got a sponsor through the vice president. It's been tried in Edo State, you know. I've not traveled there to see how it plays.
That's
you know.
true.
So Edo, so you can see, right? The plan was, let's try it in Edo State, and he said, look, okay, let me fund this one. Let it happen in Edo State. So himself, Mr. Oye, a fantastic gentleman, and he has got the Edo one sorted. We need to see how it plays. We had hoped that during the National Sports Festival, we will see how it plays, you know. All of us are supposed to be there to see how it plays and see if we can transfer the same approach to Tafa Balewa Square, you know. So what you do is, you don't go into a project without understanding all its requirements. I'm not a professional on pitch building. You know, I cannot just go and take off the pitch today and you don't have a surface to play on. You know, it becomes worse off. So it's a step-by-step approach, you know, and there's an effort in trying to achieve that, you know. We relate in Abuja, you know, we are trying to do the second one. Why are we doing that? Abuja will give us the opportunity of those two pitches to host tournaments, you know, where we can have many games rather than have one pitch in one state. At the moment we are looking at TBS and Ibadan, you know, we are looking at Liberty Stadium and TBS, because within 2 hours you can get to the ground and play games in, both states. So when I say something is in the pipeline, it means it's been discussed and it's through the implementation process. You don't want to make a mistake and say dig up the concrete at TBS and you don't.
I don't even think Aragan was even talking about you, because you just got there 2-3 years ago. This pipeline has been pipeline since we were young, isn't it? I'm sure this is
Well, to be honest, if you asked me this question 10 years ago, right, as a player, I would tell you I don't want to play at TBS. And look, maybe people don't notice the statistics, right? From when I started playing well, or playing from in 2012, 2013, 2014, when I played in the UK and understanding how the top wicket really plays, and when I go back to Lagos, right, I never really scored many runs on those concrete pitches because I started changing my game to play in a certain way, so I struggled on those conditions at TBS, after those. But you will see that when I go out to play for Nigeria in those final last 5 years, I was getting runs because I learned these conditions, so it's something that you have to, it's a gradual thing, whether you like it or not. Yeah, the pipeline, they've said them, we should do them, but for the first time in 20 years, there's a board that have said, let us start somewhere, right? Let us start from where they left over in Abuja. We are fixing that. Now we are hoping, right? We've agreed. We've said, yes, top wicket is coming to TBS. I might not be able to tell you that, okay, this is the month it's coming, because this year, there are not too many international tournaments. So we had hoped that most of the funding we get will go into this facility development and expanding our grassroots program. So every year you have a budget, you have to look at it, and step by step it has to come through. So when I say pipeline, I can only tell you about the 3 years I've been involved.
Yeah.
I can't tell you before then. So and that's the way I see it. And I've tried as much as possible to
for this pipeline. We will hold you responsible because we heard it from you. So this pipeline, we're going to hear it from you. So somebody has just
certainly.
Somebody has just corrected me. Amusa has built 2 top wickets, one in Abuja and one in Benin. The third is ongoing in Abuja, and one is also ongoing in Unilag. So, right. So what I was talking about wasn't even talking about Amusa, right? Because Amusa will build anything you say you should build. And that is also a plus for Amusa because now we've got somebody who is interested in building cricket pitches, who is devoting time in building pitches, which is a very, very laudable thing. And I remember one of those sessions I came in, I'm going to talk about that as well later on, where if it was you or Tayo Shubale I think it was you. I was in that Zoom meeting. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was there, and you were telling the cricketer.
Yeah, I remember.
Pick one thing that you can do in cricket when you leave cricket, and so it's good that somebody has picked that, and it would be nice if somebody in the national team can follow up with Amusa and continue to see how he builds it, he maintains it. You see what I mean? Amusa builds it, the other guys, and that would be a nice thing.
The truth is, and what Yemi has done, right? Like I always say, is like me picking. Yemi and I played in the teams together, and we've always had this nudge that groundsmen are people who are losers, who are not, who don't play well, Look, I know what monies you can make from learning how to build cricket, mostly when you have the resources around you, so the opportunities are there. And trust me, if every administration, either this one or the one that will come after us, if they can just channel 20% of the funding, I say 20% of the funding back into the facility development, over the next 15 years, we would have more pitches and more jobs created for people in the, right? So as a board, we have decided, right, the monies we make from TBS needs to go back into facility development. That is why you see that we are taking these giant strides of saying, some of us believe TBS is our national ground. Every time, any day, 100 scored at TBS is like Lords. You know what I mean? So definitely the decision to bring top wicket is, you cannot overemphasize it. It just have to come to TBS, because you have over 300 cricketers playing cricket on that ground every season, right? You have the big league in the country, in Lagos, and not just TBS. You need to build a neighboring, and that is why I am picking Liberty and yes to go at the same time. The good thing is the Unilag alumni have done a great job by making sure Unilag is graded and ready for top wicket, which means there is hope for us. So instead of me to sit down and say, look at what we've been doing over the last 20 years, I would say, what have we been able to do within the last 3 years and going to finish next year? Can it be developed further? My answer to that is yes. People have to look at the positive sides. For the first time, people are not complaining about allowances. For the first time, Nigerian team jerseys are looking beautiful. For the first time, players are getting equipment. We are discussing handouts. Now we are discussing contracts. At the same time, for the first time in a couple of weeks, as I speak to you today, we are looking at the documentation to sign up a foreign coach for Nigeria.
Yes,
For the first
that
time in
was
our
going to be my
cricketing history.
next question.
So these things are there, So I mean, for me, I think there are a lot of good things coming our way for cricket. As a community, we just have to be happy, and continue to work together to make sure that we take the positive out of every situation, criticize constructively, and take the best moments forward.
Yes, so I was going to talk about the coaches. That was going to be my next thing, because again, the same webinar was in that same webinar where the president of the NCF was talking about good news, something's going to happen. So where are we? I thought this should have happened, the national team coach.
Well, I can tell you, right? We have closed the deal. We just have to sign the papers before we announce it. I will tell you, I mean, officially the NCF will announce that, but I'll tell you the process here. We put out the advert and we went through. If not for COVID, the coach would have been, the Nigerian coach would have been with the team in Kenya, for the ACA final. So it's a decision we have reached, and we have decided we have closed everything. We just need to sign the papers and then make an announcement.
Yeah.
So it came through it came through 37 applicants, so it was a rigorous exercise. 37 applicants reduced to about 10, and then 7, and then 4 before we made the decision. And coach coming on board is somebody with a lot of experience. He's a World Cup winning player, and he's coached some top sides in the world. So, we'll be surprised to hear his name and look him up when he hears.
So I'm going to go back to that, and I wanted to, if you have a pen, write this question down. I want to know what his remit is. What have you told him to come and achieve? What is the KPI he's coming to achieve? So that is one question I'm going to ask later. But before we go to that, before you start answering that one, I want to pick up a question by Aragon. Aragon is the only one asking question. Do you have beef with him? Anyway.
He's my friend. I listen to his constructive arguments.
This Aragon guy on Twitter, I will suspend him one day. So he's always yeah. So he says, "How do you?"
You need to be careful with him.
Or Steino. How do you intend to get more pitches, privately owned or government-owned pitches? How do you intend to keep these pitches? I asked this question because we talked about pitches, and I want us to close on that so that we move on.
Okay, to be honest, what we have tried to do is realize that it's going to be difficult for government to give you open grounds to say go and build pitches. So the first thing we have done is we are trying to identify government-owned sports facilities, and that is why you see that we're going back to Liberty Stadium, because it belongs to the federal government, right? That's the first thing. And then the next thing is to look at the pitches available in schools. Whether you like it or not, if you look at cricket pitches across the world, they are either owned by private individuals or by school or by government parastatals, and you must sign up an MOU with them on the maintenance of the pitches. And so at the end of the day, take Unilag, for instance. The alumni of the school have gone there to say, okay, we are raising money to develop this pitch. And then when they pitch, of course, they're going to hand it over to a team of the management, in the sports council, and then so we as NCF, of course, can tie ourselves into that and say, look, how can we help? Maybe we will help provide the facility guys that will maintain the place because they have our expert, or we could train your guys on the maintenance and stuff like that. So it's a partnership. It's not, the NCF does not have the cloud. We don't have the finances to do it alone. We have to go into partnership with schools, the facilities, with universities that have the facilities, with government, because we are government anyway. So we have to go to our parent body to say, look, we need you to give us access to these facilities. And that I've tried to do with Liberty Stadium. to say, okay, yes, we know there are a group of people playing there, but I can't just walk into Liberty and build a cricket pitch and nobody maintains it. So maybe that's when we'll go into partnership with your State Cricket Association. We have to sign this MOU. The condition under which we are going to build this pitch is the fact that we take 80% maintenance cost, you take 20% or 70-30, whichever way.
You would
this
take
partnership need to be.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is this partnership must be in place, So without the partnership, nothing is going to work,
So
the whole idea is reduce the amount of power the center.
Endy, right?
Yeah.
You know me, I'll be your friend since day. This gist you are gisting, is it your gist or is this something that you've talked about on the board?
Okay, to be very honest, this is me, because I'm chairman of the development committee, and the development committee is made up of individuals from the regions handling the NCF development event.
When you say development,
so what we try to do is take the feedback.
What is development?
Grassroots development, coach education, like our coaching programs, like our tournaments, because the development committee organizes the NCF tournament in Nigeria.
So hook yourself now. I get a question for you. Yeah, but let's finish that.
All right. So now, if you take what we've said is these things have been discussed at the board level. These decisions have been agreed and reached at a level. The only thing that would slow down any decision not to be implemented is funding. We have reached a situation where we say, look, certain percentage of whatever funding is generated from TBS needs to go into facility development. That is closed, and we have agreed on that, And then we have a management that has to go back and implement this thing. But before they do anything, the board needs to give financial approvals. So if the funds are there, these things will be done because we know where we want to be. The only thing that will slow us down is funding. If we have this money, this is what we want to use it for. That is closed and discussed. And that is why you can see the Abuja pitch is going at the rate it's going. Before the center comes up, it will run alongside TBS.
Okay. So questions too plenty for this place, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want you to go back to the coaching. What is the KPI of that coach when it comes? What is he meant to achieve? I'm not looking for anything. I just want to know, will there be, is it going to be communicated? Is it not be communicated? What is the KPI? What is the main objective he's coming to?
Okay, so now there are two things, right? I have been singing since we started this board. Number one is the high performance program. We need a high performance program that will prepare players to play for the country. You don't want a national coach that will come and sit down and then you send him a guy that can't grip his bat. So the first thing is going to be setting up our high performance system where players will come through a program so that by the time they are in the national team, they are at the peak of their careers. Not like the national team, it becomes a school. The national team is not supposed to be a school. It's supposed to be where you hit the ground running. That's the first thing, right? The other KPIs will be set along where we've said, okay, where are we in Africa? Where do we want to be at the end of 3 years' time? That is the condition under which you might, renew your contract also. So all these things are clearly defined, and many more will be, of course, reviewed in due course.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So now I know where to hold you, and I know where my questions should be going to now. Development. So I'm going to ask you, because I must let you know that Odepii has been here, Oshodi has been here, Tayo Showale has been here, Ayewete has been here. Who again? The national team captain has been here. So one thing, right? These guys are very, very good players, if you agree with me, right? Yes?
Yeah. Certainly.
One thing that is common with the 5 of them is because they played university cricket. If I would lie to you, right, university cricket is gone. When I was a junior boy, right, when I was young, it was always a delight to see that Ife is coming to UI, or UI is taking a tour to Ife, or Unilag is playing UI in WAU qualifications. or Nuga qualification. At some point, those things were bollocks, but they were really, really determinant, and they were fight to finish. It became rivalry. You know, at some point, before you go to university, people are asking you, what university are you going into? You know, when you get into university, the way you are being treated. Everybody had shared their own stories of how they got into university. It now makes me wonder that, and everybody said it, this is one important part of cricket development that has not been looked into. What is happening?
Okay, let me be very honest with you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this, because if I did a presentation 2 years ago on the number of tournaments that I thought the NCS should focus on. And the tournaments were supposed to be the tournaments that would drive home your processes. One of them is the Under-17 Championship, right? The Under-17 Championship, you know, when you say Under-17, they're still in school. So obviously there's an Under-17 Championship you look forward to. The next one that I propose, right, is the University Invitational Tournament. Why did I propose it, right? I was hoping, because for a long time, I didn't get the opportunity to play university cricket because of the university I went to. You know, we didn't play cricket in Lasso. But
why would you
I knew the impact of it. Leave me alone. Unilag, you didn't give me opportunity. You know, and I thought it was. Anyway, that's another story. Don't worry. I will show you my Unilag certificate when I'm done.
Okay.
Maybe my second degree or something. But I think the key is understanding that the university cricket has been neglected. And trust me, this develops the IQ level of players. There is no way a cricketer will be a university graduate that will not think differently from a guy who did not even get that education, right? And look at what they do in South Africa. Even if they see you in the interland with that talent, they pick you up and drop you in a cricket playing school, right? So now there's something we've started. If you notice, at some point, there were not even cricketers in the universities, which means you have to go and pick year one student and start teaching them cricket,
yes.
You know. But originally, it used to be cricketers coming through secondary school into the universities, but that disappeared for a long time, So the first plan is plant an under-17 tournament that we have running for 2 years, and then the next thing is to set up a university invitational tournament. And then you have to discuss with the university where you have some of your cricketers going into those universities at whatsoever cost it may be, so that there are cricketers in those teams already. If Nuga games now, how many of those universities have cricketers in them? Very few. So it's a development. Exactly. So it's a challenge first, So the first thing is your secondary schools are not playing cricket. And when they do play cricket, you help them go through the university process, and that process needs to be completed, So I'm hoping, all these are hopes that I hope people will understand when I make these points that, look, if you've done your under-17s and students have to be encouraged to go and they have to pick those schools, there has to be that concerted effort. I remember when I was leaving secondary school, we had the opportunity of picking Ife, ABU, Zaria, Uniben, and Unilag, and then UI. Those were the 5 universities, that if you go into, you play cricket. But today, those cricketers are picking those schools. Do they have parental support to go to those schools? Are there scholarships in place to help them into, For me, those schools, those 5 schools I listed, and UNN, 6 of them should be playing cricket every year or every 2 years.
Forgot to mention
the third tournament.
Futo is one school that.
Well, to be honest, if you look back in the history, they played, but I didn't see. I just mentioned the 6, Ife, UI, the 6 that I know that I saw play cricket. I watched them play cricket, in Unilag 1998, in Ife games and all those, in UI, I saw those schools play cricket. Those 6 schools, even if it's just those 6, and then, people are going through those schools, and at the end of the day, right?
Wow, I stopped hearing you, Mr. Endurance Ofem. Yeah, maybe I should do some music instead of waiting here till he comes back. But let's see. Respect is reciprocal, even though So I'm hoping that I'm enjoying this gist. And if you have questions, please throw at Endurance Ofem. He's a member of the cricket board. If you've got questions, please do ask and let him answer us. Yep. Let me try and get him back in. Boom. Yes, Endy. Endy. I've invited him. If he's not going to fail, it's going to come up now. Oh, that has dropped again. I've got full bars. Let's try again. Boom. Add him to the call. Let's see if you're going to join, but you know what? We have 20 seconds remaining, and then for 1 hour to be complete. So we're going to kill this session and come back to the session.